I died. And in that moment, Jesus spoke words I will never forget. It will happen at noon. Go home. Lock your doors. The 3 days of darkness will begin like this. There is no more time. I stood before him, trembling. I am only here to warn you. Everything is about to change. Stay with me, because today I am going to share it all. If you believe God still speaks, type Amen in the comments. Here I am, Selena Cullen, a 40-year-old single mother in Atlanta, Georgia. I work as a night shift nurse at the hospital. My colleagues jokingly call me Wonder Woman, but honestly, I'm just a mom trying to raise my teenage daughter Miranda on my own. My life is a cycle of long shifts, bills, tuition, groceries, and endless responsibilities. Well, I grew up in church, but life pushed it to the background. I didn't reject God, but I was too busy trying to survive to think about eternity. Prayer felt like a luxury when the rent was due. That morning was different. I had just finished a brutal 12-hour shift. The streets of Atlanta were waking up, horns blaring, the grey dawn pressing down like a heavy blanket. All I wanted was my bed. I turned onto my street. Then it hit me. A sharp pain pierced my temple, as if a needle had been driven through my skull. My hands shook on the steering wheel. My vision blurred. Tires screeched as the car swerved. I tried to hold on, but my body betrayed me. The world dissolved into muffled echoes. The honking of cars, the chatter of commuters, everything faded into the distance, like I had slipped underwater. A chill crawled up my spine. Then came a strange peace, as if I were rising, not falling. The pain disappeared. I was no longer in my body. I glanced down and saw myself sprawled across the pavement. Paramedics rushing, flashing lights, painting chaos around me. My car was crushed against a pole, smoke rising. Yet I hovered above, weightless, untouched. Then a light appeared, soft, radiant, pulling me. I heard a voice, "Come, my child." I wasn't drifting anymore. I was being called. As I melted into the light, I saw him, Jesus. Immediately his voice surrounded me, like thunder wrapped in gentleness. "Selena, you have been chosen. You have a message to bring to the world." My soul trembled, not in fear, but in awe. Tears burned my eyes. He spoke again. "Selena, I will show you what is coming. I will show you the signs. Your task is to warn my children, not with fear, but with love. Let them know I am still their savior, and that peace is only found in me." His presence faded slightly, like he stepped back so I could see something else. Then came the vision. I was nowhere and everywhere at once. One moment I floated above a bustling city, skyscrapers glinting in the morning sun. The next, I hovered over golden fields swaying in the countryside. Then I was at the shore, waves crashing, children laughing as they built castles in the sand. But everywhere, people looked upward. It was as though time itself had frozen. I wasn't bound to earth. I was a witness, drifting above humanity, seeing the future unfold. Then I saw it, the sky. It wasn't a sky anymore. It looked torn apart, as though God had ripped open the canvas of creation and repainted it with colors that didn't belong on this earth. Bruising purples bled into ghostly lilacs. Streaks of blood red slashed across, like open wounds. Deep blues, heavier than any ocean, collided with glowing turquoise that shimmered unnaturally. Molten oranges and golds churned together, not in beauty, but in anguish. The heavens groaned under the weight of their own colors. It was breathtaking, but not in the way sunsets are. This beauty made my heart pound with dread. It felt alive, warning, almost screaming. I gasped, my chest tightened. I wanted to stare forever, yet I wanted to run. It was too much, like standing at the edge of eternity, peering into something no mortal should see. This was not just a sky, it was a sign. The air grew thick, electric. It buzzed against my skin like static, though I no longer had skin. The entire world seemed to hold its breath. I reached out instinctively, but the colors pulsed like living fire, warning me back. They weren't meant to be touched. Something deep in my soul whispered, "This is the beginning of the end." Below me, millions of people stood frozen, their faces tilted upward. At first, awe filled them. A man in a suit dropped his coffee, staring wide-eyed. On the beach, a mother hugged her children close, whispering, "Do you see that?" A teenager shouted, "This is insane," while recording on his phone. Laughter echoed. People compared it to paintings, fireworks, auroras. But then the atmosphere changed. The colors grew heavier, pressing down like a weight. Smiles vanished. A woman's giggle turned into a cry. A father clutched his daughter's hand tighter, fear overtaking his face. "What is that?" someone whispered, trembling. Drivers slammed their brakes, abandoning cars in the street. Horns blared. People screamed. Phones clattered onto the ground. Forgotten. Panic erupted. Some ran. Some fell. Some stood paralyzed. And then, his voice again. Not with sound, but with knowing. A truth etched directly into my soul. When you see this sign, know that 3 days of darkness are coming. It will happen before noon. "Selena, you must tell them. Go home and lock your doors." My heart, or whatever I had in this place, pounded so loudly I thought it might split me apart. A cold, urgent fear gripped me, ice crawling through my veins. I wanted to scream, to break through the vision, to grab every single person below and shake them. "Run," I wanted to yell. "Get home. Don't wait." The weight of what I saw crushed me. I was standing on the edge of something terrible, watching it unfold in real time. They had no clue. They couldn't see what was coming. I felt powerless, like a ghost screaming into a storm, knowing the words would never reach them. Then the vision shifted. It was as if someone flipped a hidden switch. Those wild, bruising colors that had filled the sky began to fade, bleeding out like ink dissolving in water. But what came next wasn't night. Not the natural kind we all know. This was a living darkness. It was thick, heavy, like it had substance, like it could crush bone. It rolled in from every horizon at once, swallowing everything. The light didn't dim. It was choked out, smothered, erased. Street lamps flickered violently and died. House windows, one by one, blinked into nothing. Cars sputtered to a stop, their engines choking mid-breath. The entire world plunged into black so complete, it pressed against me even in spirit, as though I could feel it trying to seep inside. It wasn't just the absence of light. This darkness was alive, hungry, and it wanted everything. I watched as great cities fell silent, their neon glow snuffed like birthday candles. Out in the countryside, even the stars vanished, as though erased from existence. Over the ocean, waves fell still, muffled under the suffocating weight of that void. Everywhere, people froze, faces drained of color. Wide eyes darted desperately for something solid, something safe. But there was nothing, just silence, pressing fear, and the taste of despair. My own soul trembled. Part of me wanted to look away, but I couldn't. I had to see. This wasn't just a storm. It wasn't nature. It was a force, a warning, and it was only the beginning. Then the ground split. Not in the way an earthquake splits, with shifting plates and tumbling stones. No, these were wounds, jagged gashes that screamed, tearing open the skin of the earth itself. Black smoke poured out. It wasn't ordinary smoke. It coiled and twisted like it had a will, thick and foul, curling upward in poisonous plumes. The stench hit me even here, not just an odor, but a feeling, the weight of decay, the sting of rage. the bitterness of something that had been festering too long. This smoke was alive, malicious, and it carried hatred so ancient it made my soul ache. From those gashes came shadows, not creatures with bodies or faces, but distortions, smudges of energy that warped the air. Their movements were jerky, like broken memories stumbling into existence. I couldn't see their features, but I felt them: despair, hunger, rage. They hissed and wailed, voices rising like 1,000 knives scraping against glass, tortured groans twisted into mocking laughter. The very wind seemed poisoned as it carried their cries across the darkened world. Fear surged inside me. My spirit quaked. These weren't just shadows, they were older than us, older than time as we know it. They despised light, they despised life, and now they were free. I saw people outside, those who hadn't listened, who never heard the warning or ignored it altogether. They staggered through the black, blind, colliding with one another, collapsing on their knees. Their cries were piercing. "Help me, what's happening? Please!" But no one could help. The shadows swarmed them, not tearing their flesh, but latching onto their minds. I saw a man clutching a photograph, maybe of his children, his face twisted, screaming in terror as the shadows whispered secrets only he could hear. A woman ran until her legs gave out, collapsing, curling into a sobbing ball as the weight of hopelessness buried her. This wasn't physical torment. It was worse. These shadows injected fear, despair, madness, until hope itself shattered. One young man, not much older than my daughter Miranda, fell screaming. His voice broke into silence as he clawed at his skull, trying to rip out what wasn't there. The shadows didn't touch him. They didn't have to. They had already invaded his thoughts, stealing his will, his hope, his reason to fight. I wanted to close my eyes, but I couldn't. Every moment stabbed my soul. Watching their suffering tore at me. That's when I knew why I had been sent back. I had to warn them. I had to make them understand before this became reality. Then the vision shifted again. One moment I was outside in the chaos, the next I was inside homes. Quiet, glowing places of safety. It was like stepping into another world entirely. These homes radiated light, not the harsh humming glow of electricity, but the soft flicker of candles and oil lamps. It felt sacred, untouched, like warmth itself had taken form. Families huddled close. Parents whispered steady words to calm their trembling children. "It's okay, baby. We're safe here." A little girl clutched her teddy bear, eyes wide but calm, as if some unseen hand was holding her steady. The peace was startling. How could they feel so safe when outside was terror itself? But I felt it too, that quiet, unshakable calm that wrapped them in safety like a blanket. House by house, I drifted, watching. A cramped apartment in the heart of a city. A weathered farmhouse surrounded by empty fields. A suburban home tucked behind white fences. Each one glowed. Each one held that same light. Each one radiated that same peace. And I realized it wasn't just the candles. It was something greater, something holy, a shield. I felt it deep in my spirit. These people were covered not because of where they lived or what they owned, but because they had listened, they had gone home. They had sealed their doors, they had obeyed, and now they were protected in a way no darkness could touch. Inside these homes, voices rose in prayer, whispered hymns, trembling scriptures, the language of faith carried like fire through the air. "Our Father who art in heaven," a man prayed, voice steady, holding his family close. A woman's shaky song of amazing grace broke through, her voice trembling but resolute. Children joined, stumbling over words but carrying the same faith, the same hope. And in those moments, I felt it. The atmosphere itself hummed. The room buzzed with this energy. Like a shield you couldn't see, but could feel. against those shadows outside. That toxic smoke pressed against the windows, clawing at the doors, but it couldn't get in. It was as if an invisible wall of fire rose up, pushing them back, a shield born from the prayers that poured out of trembling lips. Ino av, Sengsa peel ours ball, hum the prayers that poured out of trembling lips. I watched as one of the shadows tried to slip through a tiny crack in a window frame. The moment it touched the air inside, it recoiled, hissing as though it had been seared by flame. It shrieked and scattered, unable to cross the barrier. There was no panic in these homes, no screaming, no chaos, just trust, deep, unshakable trust in God. Families held hands, their voices breaking as they prayed or sang. Some cried quietly, but even their tears were not of fear. They were of release. Others smiled through their trembling, clinging to one another as if love itself was their lifeline. I saw a father kneel beside his young son. He pulled him close, whispering into his ear, "God's got us, son. He always has, and he always will." The boy nodded, his small hands gripping his father's shirt. In that moment, I knew it was true. This was his protection. This was his promise alive in their homes. Then Jesus' voice filled me. Not words spoken aloud, but a knowing so clear it carried more weight than anything I'd ever heard before. The body may perish, but the souls I've chosen will be protected. This is not death. This is transformation. My heart swelled, aching with tears I could not cry. These people weren't merely surviving. They were being changed. They were being held in a love far greater than the darkness that raged outside their walls. Jesus showed me more. A deeper truth. This wasn't just judgment, it was mercy. The terrifying cracks in the earth, the sky split open, the 3 days of suffocating blackness, all of it was a wake-up call. A last chance for people to turn back before the final curtain fell. His presence wrapped around me like a tide, washing over my fear with the weight of his love. He is a God of justice, yes, but also a God of mercy, giving us one more opportunity to come home. The people in those homes, fathers, mothers, children, they were living proof of his grace. They weren't fearless because they were strong or perfect. They were fearless because they believed. Their faith was their shield. Their peace was their reward. I saw it so clearly. Mercy wasn't only in the signs he gave, but in the time he extended. He didn't want anyone lost. Those who listened, who locked their doors, who sealed their windows and prayed, they would find peace, no matter what shadows prowled outside. It was a promise. Not just for them, but for anyone willing to hear. My soul trembled under the weight of it. I had to tell others. I had to make them understand. This wasn't the end. It was an invitation to begin again, to choose him before time ran out. The vision shifted once more. The darkness still blanketed the world, heavy and suffocating, but now the ground beneath me shook. At first, faint tremors rippled, then waves of violence surged through the earth. This wasn't just an earthquake. It was deeper, raw, like creation itself was groaning to purge corruption from its bones. I saw buildings cracking apart, steel and concrete splitting like paper. Bridges snapped like twigs, their fragments crashing into rivers below. Oceans rose in fury, waves like mountains swallowing coastlines, dragging whole towns under in one gulp. The noise was deafening. Screams of people trapped, the grinding of stone, the thunder of collapsing earth, the crash of waves swallowing everything in sight. It was chaos. Not random, but purposeful, as if the world itself was tearing open to start fresh. I saw a city street where cars had been abandoned mid-escape, doors flung wide. A mother clutched her child, weaving through falling debris, desperation etched into every line of her face. In a small town, a church steeple bent and then snapped, crumbling to the ground in a cloud of dust. The ocean itself surged inland, swallowing homes like they were no more than toys scattered on a floor. My soul ached at the sight. I wanted to intervene, to pull people out of the storm, but I was only a witness, helpless, aching, forced to watch. The earth was not simply breaking, it was cleansing, and nothing could stand against it. Then I saw them, the souls of those who didn't make it. They drifted, lost, hovering above the chaos. Their faces were hollow, eyes wide with fear and confusion. They were people just like me, caught when the darkness came, unable to find safety. A man in his 30s reached out desperately, groping for something solid, his body, his family, anything. His hands passed through empty air. An older woman, her grey hair tangled, wandered aimlessly, her lips forming names I couldn't hear. Ew. She was calling for someone she loved, but no answer came. And then, my heart broke further. I saw a young girl, no older than Miranda, hovering above the ruins of a playground. Her eyes were searching, frantic, as if looking for a parent she had lost forever. Their pain was unbearable. They didn't understand what was happening. They didn't know why they were stuck in the in-between. I wanted to scream to them, "Look up, find the light." But they couldn't hear me. Their sorrow was thick, suffocating, a weight heavier than the chaos below. I felt their regret, their longing for one more chance, and it tore at me like knives. I knew then why I had been sent back, to warn the living, to give them the chance these souls never had. Time blurred. After what felt like an eternity, 3 long, harrowing days of darkness and destruction, something shifted. The wounds in the earth began to close, sealing shut like scars. The black smoke dissolved into nothingness. The hateful shadows slithered backward, retreating into the depths they had come from. Then a glow appeared on the horizon. Faint at first, no stronger than a candle's flicker. Slowly it grew, stretching across the sky until the sun returned. But the sun was not the same. Its light was pale, weary, as though it too had fought its own battle to shine again. The world beneath it was scarred. Cities lay in ruins, coastlines reshaped, fields ripped apart. Yet there was something strangely clean about it all, as if creation had been washed of its poison. The silence that followed was not eerie, it was hopeful, like the hush after a storm when you know morning has truly come. Survivors stepped out of their homes, blinking in the fragile light. Their faces carried shock, but also awe, relief, even gratitude. They had made it through. My soul lifted, but the heaviness of all I had seen remained inside me. This was not the end, it was a reset, a chance for those left to rebuild, to choose a different path. Then the visions began to fade, and in their place, that radiant presence of Jesus surrounded me once more. His light wrapped around me, warm, protective, like a blanket on the coldest night. He sank deep into me, stronger than anything I had ever known. Yet I carried the weight of the warning too, a heaviness born of love, not fear. His voice came again, not as sound, but as truth carved into my soul. "Selena, you've seen it all. You've seen what's coming. Do not be afraid. I will never leave you nor forsake you. The earth may shake, the seas may rise, fires may burn, but those who trust in me will never be harmed." The words didn't just comfort me, they became part of me, poured into my spirit like armor I could never lose. And in that moment, I felt it. I felt small but safe, like a child in their father's arms, knowing nothing could touch me, as long as he was there. I thought about Miranda, about the world I had left behind. My heart ached with a longing I couldn't describe. How could I possibly return to my old life after everything I had just seen? But his promise was unshakable. Faith in him was power, a protection stronger than any storm. I saw flashes of those homes from the vision, glowing with candlelight, secure because their trust was anchored in him. That was his gift, his vow. No matter how fierce the chaos became, he would hold his people close. My soul trembled, not from fear, but from the sheer weight of his love. a love so vast it felt as though it could carry the entire world through destruction and darkness. Then he spoke again, that same knowing flooding my mind, not as words through ears, but as truth carved into my very spirit. Selina, warn my children. Tell them to trust in me. When the darkness comes, they must lock their doors and pray. And remember this, when those evil spirits draw near, they will try to paralyze you, to steal your voice. But even if you cannot speak aloud, call on my name in your heart. My name is Yeshua, and it is the power that makes them tremble and flee. His tone was steady, instructive, like a father teaching his child something vital for survival. He added, those spirits you saw, those shadows, they are cowards. They thrive on fear. But my name, Yeshua, is their undoing. It is a force they cannot stand against. I saw it in my mind as he spoke. People gathered in their homes, praying. Their voices rose into the heavens, becoming like a wall of fire, pushing the shadows back. His name was not just a word, it was a weapon, a flame that pierced the darkness, burning through the evil. Urgency rushed through me, strong as the beat of my own heart. I wanted to run out that very moment, to shout his message to every soul alive. Tell them, he said again, hold fast to me, I am their strength. My chest pounded with new purpose. I was not just a nurse anymore, not just a single mother. I was a messenger. And though the weight of it frightened me, his love steadied me. I could almost hear him whisper into my being, you can do this, Selina. I am with you. Time seemed to dissolve in his presence. Seconds and hours lost meaning. All that existed was the message blazing inside of me, clear and urgent as the morning sun. He smiled. Not a physical face, but a warmth, a light so intense with love that it made my soul ache with longing. You are ready, he said. Those words sank into me like roots, grounding me with strength. Then the pull began, stronger this time. I felt myself drawn back, slipping through a tunnel, his light growing dim behind me but never leaving entirely. The weight of my body returned, the pounding ache in my bones, the steady thump of my heart restarting its rhythm. Pain surged back, sharp, undeniable. But so did my mission. E was no longer drifting. A was being sent back. Atlanta, back to Atlanta, back to a world blind to what was about to unfold. My mission was unmistakable. Tell them, warn them, prepare them. The brilliance of his presence dimmed, but his love lingered in me like a spark that could never be extinguished. I was no longer the same Selina. I carried his words, his warning, and I knew I would spend every breath ensuring others heard it. The darkness was coming, but so was his promise, and I was ready to fight for it. When I opened my eyes, reality slammed into me. Bright hospital lights stabbed at my vision. The steady beep-beep of machines drilled into my ears. The sharp tang of antiseptic burned my nose. I was lying in a hospital bed, tubes snaked out of my arm. A nurse's startled voice cut through the haze. She's awake. Get the doctor. My head throbbed, dull and pounding, but the exhaustion that had weighed me down for years was gone. Instead, there was a deep calm inside, like a quiet lake after a storm. I was back. They called it a miracle. Your case doesn't make sense, a doctor muttered, flipping through my chart with a puzzled frown. You were gone, Selina. No pulse. Nothing. And yet here you are. But I knew the truth. I knew where I had been. I knew what I had seen. And I knew what I had brought back. My heart raced, not with fear, but with purpose. I wasn't just a nurse anymore. I wasn't just Miranda's mother. I was a messenger. And the message pulsed inside me, alive, burning. I stared at the ceiling tiles, feeling the scratch of the hospital gown against my skin. The world felt heavier, sharper. I could see its cracks now, cracks I had never noticed before. I had seen the future, the terror, the light, and Jesus himself. How does anyone go back to normal after that? The doctor kept talking. Something about tests, about observation. But my mind was still with him, hearing his voice. I was alive, but I was not the same. I could never be. Then the door burst open. Miranda flew into the room, her face streaked with tears. "Mom," she cried, throwing herself against me. I was so scared. Her sobs shook her body against mine. Her warmth anchored me to this sterile room. I held her tightly, inhaling the familiar scent of her coconut shampoo. Feeling her heartbeat against mine, I wanted so badly to tell her everything about the light, the visions, the warning, but the words caught in my throat. She was only 16, stubborn, glued to her phone, skeptical of everything. Would she believe me, or think her mother had finally broken? I stroked her hair and whispered softly, "I'm here, baby. I'm okay." But my gaze drifted to the others in the room, the bustling nurses, a cousin dabbing her eyes, the doctor scribbling notes. Their smiles were full of relief. Yet beneath it, I saw blindness. They had no idea what was coming. Outside the hospital window, the world carried on, cars honking.
People rushing.
Oblivious. I saw it so clearly now. The chaos on its way, the signs they would ignore, the warnings they would dismiss. How could I make them see? Miranda pulled back, her eyes searching mine. She sensed it, even if she didn't understand it. "Mom, what happened?" she whispered.
I wanted to pour it all out.
But fear gripped me. Not fear of the darkness, but fear of her unbelief. How do you tell your daughter the world is about to change forever, and that you've been chosen to warn it? So I started small. With Miranda sitting on my hospital bed, I told her little pieces about the light, about Jesus, about the strange colors in the sky. Her face paled, her eyes widened. She shook her head slowly, as if I'd become a stranger before her. "Mum, are you sure you're okay?" she asked. Her voice was soft, uncertain. Maybe you should talk to someone. A therapist, maybe." Her words pierced me, but I couldn't blame her. A week later, I tried with my friends, over coffee in my living room. I told them about the darkness, about the cracks splitting the earth, about the urgent warning he had given me. They listened, polite at first, then exchanged glances. "Selena, maybe it was just a dream," one friend said hesitantly. "Or maybe trauma from the crash," another added, her tone soft but skeptical. "You sure you're not watching too many of those end-of-the-world YouTube videos?" A third asked, half joking but not really. The loneliness struck me like a wave. I had seen the truth raw, terrifying, breathtaking truth, and not a single person believed me. It was like carrying a mountain no one else could see. At night, I would lie awake, the visions replaying in my mind, his voice echoing, warning them again and again. "Selena, but how?" When even my own daughter looked at me like I was falling apart, I felt completely alone. Yet deep down, I knew I wasn't. A light still burned inside me, pushing me forward. I had to find a way to make them listen, to share this burden before it was too late. Some nights I lay staring at the ceiling, wondering if it was all just some elaborate hallucination. Could it have been my brain misfiring after the accident? Just trauma and chemicals making me see things that weren't there. Part of me wanted to believe that, to shove it all away, to slip back into my old rhythm work, Miranda, bills, repeat. If I kept my mouth shut, no one would call me unstable. I could blend back in. I could just be the Selena. Everyone thought they knew, but every time I tried, the visions came crashing back. Vivid as the day I first saw them, the bruised, swirling sky, the suffocating, living darkness, the cries of souls left outside, their faces twisted in regret. And then the soft glow of homes wrapped in prayer, safe against the shadows. They weren't just dreams, they were burned into me, haunting me, refusing to let go. I would sit at my kitchen table with a cold cup of coffee, my hands trembling as his voice filled me again, reminding me of the weight of his love. Could I really ignore that? Sometimes I wanted to, just to feel normal again, but I knew better. It was too real. Doubt gnawed at me, but so did the truth. I was torn in a tug of war between fear of being judged and the fire of what I had been shown. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those lost souls again. Their cries cut through me. Their regret was a knife in my heart. I couldn't stay silent, not after what I'd seen. And then his voice came, not spoken, but felt like a pull deep in my soul. Jesus didn't let me forget. Jesus didn't let me forget. We sigen but me but spiri see. It was as if he was standing right beside me, whispering into my heart, reminding me of the mission. You were chosen, Selena. He had said. He had said. Those words echoed, louder every time I tried to push them away. The images returned. The pain of those trapped outside, their despair suffocating, and then the peace of the families inside, safe in his love. That contrast tore at me. It was impossible to ignore. I wasn't carrying this just for myself. I was carrying it for everyone. The Holy Spirit pressed against me like a hand on my back, urging me forward, refusing to let me sit in silence. At night, I prayed with tears soaking my pillow. Why me, Lord? I'm not strong enough. But then he would show me those lost souls again, their faces heavy with regret, and the others glowing in safety because they trusted him. You're not alone, his voice seemed to say. I am with you. The fire inside my chest grew hotter, burning away the fear. This was no longer just my burden. It belonged to everyone willing to listen. I had to speak. I had to warn them, even if it cost me everything. I knew I needed a way to reach people, a platform, some way to make my voice heard beyond whispered conversations that ended in doubt. So, after Miranda went to bed, I searched the internet late at night. I found testimonies, other people brave enough to share their visions. Some were shaky videos filmed in bedrooms, others were live streams with only a handful of viewers. They weren't polished or fancy, but they were raw, real. They gave me hope. I wasn't the only one. I started scribbling notes in a worn journal, figuring out how to put my experience into words. Not fancy words, just simple and strong, words that could slice through skepticism like light through fog. I practiced in front of my mirror, my voice stumbling at first. Sometimes I cried halfway through. Sometimes I froze, unable to finish. But each night I prayed, Lord, help me say it right. Help me speak with courage. Little by little, my voice steadied. My resolve grew. I realized I couldn't wait. The signs were coming. Time was slipping through our fingers. If people laughed, fine. If they rolled their eyes, fine. But if I stayed silent, who would warn them? I accepted the mission, the risk, the judgment. I was Selena Cullen, a nurse, a mother. But now I was something more, a messenger carrying his truth, ready to shout it for anyone who had ears to hear. That's why I'm here, sitting in my little Atlanta apartment, recording this message. I'm not a preacher. I'm not a prophet. I'm not some street corner zealot waving a Bible in your face. I'm just Selena, a nurse, a mom, an ordinary woman who died and came back with something burning in her soul. I don't know where you are right now. Maybe you're curled on your couch. Maybe you're riding a crowded train, earbuds in. Maybe it's early morning where you are, or late at night. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're hearing this. I need you to listen. Really listen. I died. I saw the other side. And God pulled back the curtain to show me what's coming. This isn't a story to entertain you. It's not fiction to pass the time. It's a wake-up call, straight from him, through me, to you. I am here because I was chosen to speak this truth, and I won't waste a single second. My hands shake as I say this, not because I'm scared, but because I know what's at stake. I saw the signs, I saw the darkness, I saw the hope too. I felt his love and his urgency pressing into me. I am just a woman from Atlanta, but I'm carrying a fire that is not my own. You might think I'm crazy. That's fine. I thought the same at first, but I am alive today because he sent me back with this message. So please, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, don't look away. This is for you. Here's the message I brought back from the other side. It is as clear as daylight, a warning that something is coming, and it will happen before noon. When you see the sky turn into wild shades of purple like bruises, streaked with blood red, burning oranges, and eerie blues that don't belong, know this: it is not a rainbow, not a sunset. It is the sign. When you see it, don't wait. Don't think about work, errands, or your plans for the day. Drop everything and go home. Lock every door, seal every window, cover every crack. Light candles, no electricity, only candles. And pray. Pray like your life depends on it, because it does. Hold your children close, gather your family, and don't stop praying. I saw what happens when you don't. And those shadows, that darkness, it's not just ordinary night, it is alive. And it comes for anyone caught outside. I saw people running, screaming, but it was already too late. The darkness didn't care about their money, their titles, or their excuses. It swallowed everything. But I also saw homes that stood like beacons, glowing with candlelight, filled with voices lifted in prayer. Those people survived because they listened, because they trusted him. The horror of those left outside, ordinary people, just like you and me, tore through me. They were caught off guard, unprepared, consumed by the dark. Their screams broke my heart. But at the same time, I saw the miracle of peace inside the homes of those who trusted Jesus. Their walls shone with light. Their hearts were steady, even as the world collapsed around them. Jesus doesn't want even one soul to be lost. That's why he showed me this. That's why he sent me back. These signs, this time, it is his mercy, his love, giving us one last chance to prepare. Don't say he didn't warn you. Don't say you weren't told. I am risking everything. My reputation, my friendships, even my place in the life I once knew. Is his. Because I saw the truth, and I cannot stay silent. His love is bigger than the fear, bigger than the darkness. He is giving us time, but time is running out. Trust him. Prepare your homes. Hold fast to his name. You are not alone in this. He is with you, just as he was with me. But you must choose. You must act before the sky shifts and the clock strikes noon. You see, my journey didn't begin in some holy place. It began with exhaustion, doubt, and a death I never expected. I was just Selena, a weary nurse, a mother trying to hold life together for my daughter, Miranda. My days were a blur of long shifts, unpaid bills, and endless prayers that felt unanswered. But my story didn't end there. It ended with a revelation that shook me to the core, a faith I cannot unfeel, and a mission I cannot ignore. Jesus is not a distant judge seated high above the clouds. He is love, real, warm, wrap you in his arms, love. He is grace poured over broken people like me. He showed me the horror of what is coming, the crushing darkness, the chaos, the despair. But he also gave me the greatest hope. He doesn't want you terrified. He wants you safe. Safe in him, held close, unshaken, wrapped in peace. No storm can steal. That is what he is offering you right now. If you're feeling lost, overwhelmed, or terrified about what lies ahead, please hear me. You are not alone. His love is right here, waiting for you, ready to cover you like a blanket on the coldest night. All you have to do is open your heart and let him in. I know because I've been there, doubting, drifting, too busy to care about faith. But he found me, and he is looking for you too. Don't wait until the sky turns strange before you reach out. Don't wait for fear to grip you before you call his name. Start now. Pray. Seek him. He will answer. I promise you, he will guide you, just as he guided me through the light, through the visions, through the storm. I have seen him. I have felt him. And I know he is real. This testimony is not only mine, it is a whisper to your heart. A reminder that even in the deepest darkness, there is a light that never dies. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have life figured out. Just take one step. Call on him and he will meet you where you are. I am living proof of that. If this message stirred something in you, if you feel a pull deep inside your soul, I beg you, don't push it aside. That tug is him calling you. Stay connected. Stay watchful. This isn't entertainment. This is preparation. There is more I have to share. More warnings, more truth, and more hope. But for now, let this be the seed planted in your heart. Don't ignore it. Let it grow, because I promise you, what I saw is coming. And only those who prepare, who trust him, who stand firm in prayer, will find peace when the world shakes. Before I close, let me pray for you. Jesus, my Savior, I come before you with an open heart, overflowing with gratitude and awe. I thank you for pulling me out of darkness, for showing me your light, and for pouring out love I could never deserve. I am just Selena, a mother, a nurse, a woman who was lost. Yet you chose me. You gave me a mission. I ask you now for strength to speak, to keep sharing what I have seen, even if the world mocks me or turns away. Please protect my daughter Miranda and everyone I love. Open their eyes to see the signs. Open their hearts to hear your words when the sky turns grey and the darkness falls. Teach them to lock their doors, light their candles, and pray with faith that never falters. I pray for the wandering souls, the ones too burdened or blind to see you yet. Please, Lord, lead them into your light as you led me. Lord, I am afraid sometimes, afraid of not being brave enough, afraid of not being heard, but I trust in you, for you have promised never to abandon me. Guide every step I take, every word I speak, so that my life reflects your love and mercy. Give me the peace to carry this message to all, so that they may know you are the love, the hope, the way.